Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Dixon from Thrive Yoga and Wellness, and joining me today is...
I am Merritt Maloof Plumb with the Energy Center.
And we are on week... Oh, I'm going to have to quit saying which week we are.
Yeah, we shouldn't be... No one should expect us to be able to count.
Good, because that's just too much.
We've talked about we did a brief overview of the 5 yamas, and then we talked about each one.
Well, we did the yamas and the niyamas. We summarized all of them.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that was a while ago. That's why we shouldn't be relied on to count.
And now we've done each of the yamas, and today we are going to do an overview of the
5 yamas.
5 yamas.
But before we do, make sure you hit that little button right down there and subscribe to this channel. You can find us here on the YouTube station that you may be tuned in, or on all of the major podcast platforms, because we have a podcast now. How exciting.
I know, it's awesome.
This has been a long journey.
And you can find us on most podcasts.
Yep, you can find it's under the Thrive Yoga and Wellness podcast, and it's on every platform. So we it's hosted on Anchor, because I'm not technologically savvy enough to do Libsyn or anything else, and I'm not plugging any of them, and I'm not an affiliate for any of them. I just tried several of them, and I couldn't figure it out.
And I also want to say, I'm just going to be really real here.
I love it.
We're using a new recording device, and I don't know where to look to look like I'm looking at the person. So can you help me with that? Because
I'm not entirely sure if I know. I just kind of look at we're using my iPad today instead of my iPhone.
Well, you're looking right at the camera, so you're just looking straight ahead?
So look at the numbers.
Okay.
Maybe that makes it better.
All right. Does it look like I'm looking at the camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
So again, that's another case in point how we are not tech savvy enough for this, and one day we will have a group of people that are here to we've joked
hair,
about it.
Makeup.
Yeah, we definitely I need some hair help, definitely need some makeup help. Yeah. And so until that time comes, I appreciate you bearing with us and subscribing to our channels however you see fit in the best way to listen. And we will be bringing you this content every single Wednesday. It's already going now, but yeah, we're here. We've been here for 6 months now.
Yeah, we're calling it Sacred Spaces.
Sacred Space. And that's because we believe that this time together is sacred, because it's helping us to dive a little deeper into ourselves, into the softer side perhaps of yoga, and we're going to cover some philosophy, we'll cover some mythology, but it's sacred because any time spent together amongst friends is a sacred time indeed, I think.
Yes, and I also feel like these topics that we're discussing are sacred and help us move back to center and take that to our mats or to whatever our practice is. You know, we just hope that, not that we're trying to bring anybody into being a yogi, but that you can...
But that'd be cool.
But that would be cool. By the way, do yoga. That you can take this to help expand your consciousness, whatever your practice is or whatever your path is.
Yeah, because most of the time we are so focused on, at least in my stage of life, and I know so many people, it's like raising the kids, working, getting it done. When do we have the opportunity to stop and think about something that's a little bit higher up, like the hawk, and see it from higher up, and see these principles, in this case these yamas, and how it can impact our life on a day-to-day basis. So even though I'm down here in the weeds of life, this time with you is helping me to take a step back, maybe look a little deeper.
Well, and maybe bring this into the weeds with you.
Yes, exactly.
And live from that center place always. And
try to.
It's still going to get frustrated. It's still going to be overstimulating at times, but you're more the witness than riding this roller coaster of emotions of all the things that you have to do.
Which is crazy to think about. I mean, how many of us sit there and ride the roller coaster of emotions? Because life happens, the trauma, the busyness, the stress, and to be able to use these concepts like the yamas and the niyamas, or even our conversations about the elements and the chakras, to be able to use those to empower us to make better decisions, to be able to stay in that peace and that centeredness. That's nothing short of empowerment, and it's helping us, because I hate that up and down, and it's helping us to stay here in the middle. And there will be times like,
Of course.
like last week, my dog stroked out on us, and I definitely was not calm. That was like a super high and low as we dealt with that.
Grief.
It was grief.
Because even though, she's doing better and she's hopefully going to be okay, you had to experience that grief that she might die.
Yep. But we had these tools of nonviolence to myself because I was staying up with her and I wasn't sleeping and I wasn't, taking care of things that I needed to do stuff, and I needed to let go of the idea of what it meant for her. And now we're mostly on the other side and it's beautiful, but I still had these tools.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue into that, the first Yama that
Which
we talked
is
about.
Ahimsa.
Is Ahimsa.
Ahimsa is nonviolence.
Nonviolence.
And what before we go, I definitely want to make sure that we give a shout out to to Deborah Adele
We
and the
have
Yamas
both
and
been
Yamas.
reading this book, and it's amazing.
It is. You can tell it's well loved if it sits there and stays open where you
Mm-hmm.
push it down. I've been reading it and I'll reread it, and it's giving us modern day insights to very ancient ideas.
Wisdom.
Mm-hmm. And so the first of the 5 yamas, remember, the yamas and the niyamas are the first 2 limbs of yoga. So Ashtanga yoga is 8 limbs of yoga. Mm-hmm. The asanas, what we like to practice the majority of, that comes after these principles. But most of the time people get stuck in, oh my gosh, can I get my handstand? Or oh my gosh, can I get my leg behind the head? Who cares? Who cares in the grand scheme of things?
It's been really powerful to take some of these concepts to the mat with me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How so?
Just, when I'm I do a lot of yin, and so when I'm doing a position, to practice that nonviolence of like trying to get myself there.
Yes.
And
me too.
That's the one for the non-violence. That's the big one for the nonviolence.
Me too.
And also, I know last night I tried to give you a gentle reminder, maybe rest your muscles. And I think I'm on the other side of that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I don't, target the right muscles or use the right muscles in the way I need to strengthen and to make some things better. And you do yoga, like, as far as I can tell, at least 1 to 2 times a day, every day. And
I wish I could do it every single day, 1 to 2 times a day.
Is it? Or you're doing some kind of exercise, physical. Like, even God took the 7th day and rested.
Well, in my defense, I did
that. I'm not saying you don't do that. I'm asking.
I try to practice 6 days a week, depending on the week. Sometimes it is 5. And so we were traveling down. I did a workshop this past weekend down in the suburbs of Mobile, so I didn't get a chance to practice Friday, and I really didn't practice much Sunday because I led the workshop, and it was Mardi Gras down there, and it was family friendly Mardi Gras, and so my kids now have been ruined forever about parades because they're going to think, because we haven't taken them to a parade, they're 4 and 2, so now they're going to think anytime we say parade, magic things fall from the sky, like stuffed animals, light up swords, candy, beads galore. So anyways,
they're not going to like the Easter egg.
They will not like our Christmas parade next year because they're going to feel gypped.
It's nothing. It's just, there's nothing like a Mardi Gras parade.
It's true. And so where was I? So anyways, I didn't get a chance to practice. And for me physically, because I do practice yoga to help with an injury. I have a herniated disc in my low back. I have to keep my core fired up or the disc flares up. And now for some reason, this disc has gotten to the point where it's also impacting hip mobility and giving me hip pain. So if I don't focus a little bit on trying to bring the core in, then I hurt even worse. And so I heard you, and my practice today, I actually did a post about it, was the beautiful thing about yoga and a home practice in particular, and the longer that you practice it, you start to learn how to practice this ahimsa and make it be more therapeutic and less go get 'em tiger. And the beauty again of the Ashtanga practice, as I have been taught it, is you can get incredibly strong with it, but it can also be incredibly therapeutic. Mm-hmm. And that's the approach that I took.
Any type of yoga, I found that.
Yeah.
I found that with.
And that's the approach that I took with it. Especially some days I'm taking it like I have got to get my XYZ muscles stronger so I can do XYZ. Like my kids are heavy. I got little bowling balls, 40-pound bowling balls. And I could attribute yoga to helping me to be able to keep up with them, even though I'm an older mom. And then today was more about getting the mobility back that I may have lost in all the travel, and getting reconnected to my core. Because even though we are not taught this by the Western medicine people, 6 weeks after you have a baby, your body isn't back to normal. Any woman that's had a baby knows that, and it takes a long time to get that body back. And then even after you've gotten the body back, the integration of the muscles doesn't always work, and that doesn't really have to do that much with nonviolence, but it does have to do with
thinking about it in a nonviolent way.
Yeah.
Could we consider that maybe your body not being exactly like it was before you had a baby is normal and natural?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was, what is the word? Aparigraha. I'm being possessive.
Yeah.
I am wishing it. But no, and it's not about like the shape. More for me, it's about
I understand, but
the strength. I need that
maybe
stability.
if you surrender to that a little bit, the stability will kind of come naturally. That's kind of how I tend to believe.
I'll have to think about that, because right now when I tell my lower abdominal muscles to work when they don't want to, they don't want to work. And they're kind of integral.
I know how they feel.
They're kind of integral to the whole stability of the lower back and pelvis region. So I'll have to think about.
I am certainly not trying to say that after you have a baby, don't exercise or try to strengthen your core. Always do that.
Yes, which is a good leeway into our pelvic floor workshop.
Yes.
We do a pelvic floor workshop at the studio at least a couple of times a year. It's something I'm very passionate about, not just for women that have had babies. It's good for men and women. And it's not just talking about the pelvic floor. It's addressing the entire core and the responsibility that the core has to creating an upright posture for all of us. So that's coming up on March 1st if you are watching this live, but if you are not, then we will have it again in the future. We have it, like I said, a couple times a year because this is near and dear to my heart. But
I'm excited about that. I'm going to try to come to that.
It's a good one. Like every time I've gone, this will be my fifth one, and I still learn something every time, just because the human body is amazing. We can, I mean, come on, we've made babies, and now let's figure out what else that the human body can do too.
Human body is the Satya.
The truth?
The truth.
Satya, yeah.
Satya. Satya. That is a deep truth. And the more that we are connected to things, thoughts, ideas, practices that, celebrate this incredible intelligence that created us and our body's ability to heal. If we're living in accordance with the Yamas and Niyamas, non-attachment, non-violence, truth, that we don't carry the stuff in our body, that
we let it go.
It's more free flow. I mean, we're going to die.
Yeah.
But while we're in this vessel, if we're doing things to keep ourselves whole and healthy and healed, we can live a pretty comfortable existence. Yep. I'm convinced.
I agree with you. So with non-violence, ahimsa, it's not just, not beating up some random person, or it's also so much deeper. It's choosing to be peaceful to yourself and peaceful to those around you. And even maybe in my head bring about and do what you can to facilitate that peace. And that can be a slippery slope to dive into, and I don't think we dove into it too much, but ahimsa is the root of all of the yamas. It's the beginning place of all of the.
They all circle back
to non-violence, and ahimsa, it all comes back to if anything is in question, you follow ahimsa first, non-violence, and that's the deepest one, because how many of us have heard or said or thought, well, the truth hurts sometimes. Yeah.
And there's a quote, or maybe it's based off a quote and I made it up, but if you have a choice to be right or to be kind, always choose kind.
Yep. Oh, you did. There was like a meme that you shared that first week when we did ahimsa. So In the first of the yamas, the one that that's kind of like the foundation. If we have a house, the footers and the foundation is ahimsa, non-violence towards yourself, to those around you, towards the future, the present, just practicing non-violence. It's beautiful if we start there and imagine the world if everyone was practicing non-violence. And then the next step is
truth.
We talked about it just a second ago. Satya.
I was trying to move us forward.
Oh, sorry, and I drug us back. I apologize.
So I decided to be nonviolent and just kind of go with it.
So truth again. Like you've heard people say, "Oh, I can say it because it's the truth," but then it hurts somebody. So then maybe it doesn't need to be said. That's the biggest takeaway that I got from this.
Or can you speak your truth with kindness? I think that's what it really comes down to, because you don't want to repress, because that's violent, right, to yourself. True. So you do have to find ways to speak your truth, and if your truth is, you're a piece of crap, that's not truth.
Yeah.
If your truth is, I feel really taken advantage of when you don't take the garbage out, whatever, whatever it is, then you're speaking that in a way that you're owning how you feel, and you're asking for some teamwork to figure out a way that you can both be nonviolent to each other and stand in your truth.
It's true, and I had that happen to me recently with different yogis, and where if I didn't say anything, it would have been violent towards me and the people that were with me, but saying something was very uncomfortable. But trying to say it in a way that was practicing Satya, truth, in a nonviolent way, that's difficult. Ooh, it's difficult.
Well, it is difficult, and sometimes it's a projection, because maybe you're attached to them being a certain way, and you have an expectation of them, and that's not loving freely.
Yep.
If they're participating in, I don't know what this was, but if they're participating in behaviors that are harmful, a good friend will find a loving way to point that out, and you can do that and also be non-attached to outcome.
Yep, to not being, which goes into not really, that one will go into it later. The third yama, which is called non-stealing, or Asteya. So non-stealing on the surface is pretty easy. You don't, I'm not going to come over to Merritt's house and be like, "Oh, dude, I like that crystal. She'll never notice it. She's got 5,000 other ones." And then I slip it in my pocket. No, of course not, because I love Merritt and I love my friends, and you don't do that sort of thing. But what sort of things on a subtle level are stealing that we don't think about, and how can we practice Asteya, non-stealing, on a more subtle, less maybe tangible level?
Well, for me, it's about not stealing people's energy. Everything's about energy to me. I practice energy, Eastern Earth medicine, and everything's about energy to me. And do you bring your burdens to someone and dump all over them? Or are you always, in an Eeyore place with everyone and living in a victim mentality? And some people have expectations that you do certain things for them. Some people just want to kind of be what I call energy vampires, and just dump everything on you. And it's fine if you're sharing and processing with a friend, but then if you just don't even care how they are. So it's very energetic to me. We talked about the burden basket on this one, and the burden basket is a native teaching that is about never carrying more than your burden basket will hold, and not taking your burdens to the doors of others. Leave it outside, because everybody hangs their burden basket outside at the end of the day, to remind visitors when they come in not to leave the burdens outside the door.
Oh, I love it.
And to not disrespect a family by taking your burdens in. Having said that, we do share burdens and we do help each other in those ways, but if you're using someone's energy to just perpetuate a victim mentality and not using that help to make yourself better, you're stealing people's energy.
Yeah.
And so most of these things, if you guys have watched all of these, you'll see I always have a very energetic spin on these things.
It's beautiful spin, a beautiful spin from a more, I guess, physical, because I'm a very physical person. I'm learning how to get into some of the softer things.
That's why we're so good for each other, because
yeah, because we bring both
I sit and meditate all day, and she moves all day, and we both need to do a little of each.
Yes, exactly. And so something recently came up between my husband and I swear to you, marriage is the best proving ground for all things like philosophical
and
marriage and children. Man, they just really show you who you are, show you the true grit comes out. And we had folks over to our house for a Bible study recently, and it's the first time we've ever done anything. I used to swear I would never do anything like this because my house is a disaster. We live in a works in process home, and right now it's tax season, so oh my God, don't even get me started about that. So these people came over, and I realized at the end of the night, my husband said something, because again, he's a saint. He was like, "You've really got to work on not interrupting people."
I'm terrible about that too.
So bad.
This has been a good practice in that.
Yeah, it really has.
Because I know people can see me going.
Me too. Me too. But this one, especially Asteya, came up. We had already filmed it, but before this particular event happened with my husband, and I felt so guilty. I need to let that feeling go. But I do. I tend to be like a freaking bull in a china shop. I've got so much to say, and I'm so excited, and I just know what I have to say is so much cooler than what you have to say. and it's
usually true.
I don't know about that, but that's just how this works, and I have to practice a little control, self-restraint, and not steal someone else's time and thought. And it's hard.
But it does, when you can really be in that presence and with someone and let them just do what and say whatever they are going to say without you trying to. It is beautiful. But I'm like you. People have actually, not confronted me about it, but talked to me about it.
Oh, me too. I love you guys.
I'm sorry.
Exactly right.
But my head's running while they're talking, and so I told my stepdaughter the other day, she put up a post about just needing to be where she was and everyone to understand that, and I said, "Darling, be where you are, and I'm here if you need me, and tell me to shut up if I start talking," because I want to be in that presence. And we also talked on this one about like when someone passes away, how you try to share your experiences instead of just allowing them to just fully tell you whatever they want to tell you and not making that about your experience. We're empathetic people and we want to share. Oh, I understand. Yes, I've been through something similar. But the truth is nobody can ever know what anyone else is feeling because our experiences are so different.
Yeah.
And we do. That was a big one for me, a big light bulb for me, because I think I tend to try to fix.
Yep.
And even that can be stealing energy.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. And it still goes back to me being so, I'm just an aggressive person and I want to fix it, or I want to take away the pain, or I want to do whatever, insert XYZ where it's me and I shouldn't be, and I'm stealing from that person's moment of grief exchange, for your example,
in this example,
or energy exchange,
or joy.
A joy of sharing.
Even with joy, yeah.
So non-stealing was a hard one for me. Not that I'm coming over here stealing Merritt's rocks. I'm not. But
and you never steal my energy. You always fill me.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that I do. You do as well. You do as well. And that's why I think this works too, because we're both leaving fuller than we came, right?
Yes.
No calories.
No, we haven't started the calories, but
yeah. So,
I've thought about snacks. It's just I'm always so busy before that never happens.
That's right. We have a time, because it's
yes.
There's always this one little window of time to shoot these. So non-stealing, I'm taking it was kind of hard for both of us in certain regards, because we both have this desire to want to fix. And
yeah, with all of these, I feel evolved to certain points, and I still have a lot of work in others, I think that's the nature of the journey.
Yep. And
is to, not be attached to the learning and letting go, but to just be open to exploring and
which is a good segue.
Becoming a little better every day into Brahmacharya.
Brahmacharya.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sort of interrupted her then. So
that's okay because it's about non-excess, and now I'm interrupting you.
So Brahmacharya is the 4th yama, and it means non-excess. And I always have trouble with excess versus access. Again, I'm from the South, so I don't talk too good. So
excess,
non-excess. So not hoarding, not overeating, not. A lot of times when people come into this, and we talked about it, they make it all be about sex, and it's not just about sex. It can be about anything done to excess. I'm saying that, making sure I say the right word, which takes you away from the focus within.
Yes, it can be, it can be sex, it can be thoughts, it can be overdoing
yoga,
meditation, anything, I mean, if there's a balance with everything. Mm-hmm. And when I think we talked about during this segment that when I find myself living and not being able to moderate the things that I do in excess, it's when I'm feeling depressed or low, which yoga helps with too. Meditation helps with too. Not being fully present. Mm-hmm. And so I do think about how long it takes to dust some of my excess some days. And, it goes back to that non-stealing, like how much crap do you need? So, I mean, I don't consider myself a total hoarder, but I think we talked about how when we cleared out my parent and my aunt's house that it got to where there was no space between things in my house anymore because I'm keeping all this stuff for my nephews and my daughter. Mm-hmm. And, if it becomes, too excessive, I'll have to use my non-attachment and let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a hard one to practice, the non-excess, especially when it's something that you are so attached to. Which kind of...
I don't feel attached to any of it, honestly.
See, I can feel attached to certain things that I have a hard time. Like, we didn't talk about this, but when my son weaned, he was a little bit younger than my daughter, I had one little rocking chair that I nursed both of the babies in. And so clearly that was a lot of time spent in that darn chair, that glider or whatever. And the glider had finally started dying. And my husband's like, we need to get rid of this. I was like, I can't. I nursed both my babies in this. Like, my babies were in this. I held them. They grew here, And it was getting to be so bad where, like, one of the arm handles was, like, loose. And so if you sat back too much on that right side...
the baby.
Yeah, I might have fallen out, But I was so ridiculously attached to this memory of my babies that I did. I ultimately, in case you wanted to know, I did let it go. And I cried as I watched the claw of the dump truck pick up the rocking chair, break it, because that's what it does, breaks it, and then dumps it in. I cried because that was like that attachment, if you will, to my children in their infant stages. And so...
Well, but you're not crying now.
No, I'm not. And that's the beautiful thing about about non-excess. So if I would have just been like, well, whatever, it's just a rocking chair. But then when you finally do let it go, being non-possessive, which is our 5th yama, Aparigraha, it's a beautiful feeling of letting go. We made space. So now there's... that space was filled by toys because they're no longer nursed, but still.
I had my dad built a dollhouse for me when I was a child, and we built it together.
Aww.
And my parents owned a store, like it was an old-timey car lot back in the day, but it was downtown, and it was just this massive building, and he had a factory in it, and they stored all of our toys there so that we'd have them for our grandchildren. Well, the building burned.
Oh.
And that dollhouse burned in it. And I was more devastated over that dollhouse than I was the building. Because I wanted that for my children. And when my daughter was a child, my dad found her this most beautiful dollhouse. And it was just as precious as the other one, maybe even more so because I'd learned so many lessons about letting go with that story. And it's like, well, what are you going to do? It burned.
Yeah.
It burned. There's no getting that back. And I think that we do. We move things and slough them around and dust and polish, and it's all gonna break, gonna go away. Everything is, Did I slip into a different Yama?
No, well, we were sort of dancing into non-possessiveness anyway. So that was a beautiful segue into
these all flow into each other.
That's what's so pretty about
back and forth to each other.
It's so true.
And
they provide the foundation by which we can live this life that, even though there will be the ebbs and flows, the grief, the excitement, all that, we can be, with the practice, able to fully enjoy it, because we'll recognize if I probably don't need to have the fifth cookie. That may or may not have been me at some point in time, or I don't need to be so possessive of the rocking chair, and so it's this beautiful foundation, whether you practice yoga or believe in these concepts or not. And I don't believe that they are anti another religion.
Oh no.
And
no, you can use these to add to whatever your beliefs are. I mean, they're just philosophies,
and they make you a better person.
Yeah.
I totally believe they'll make you a better person simply by, you won't be a hoarder. You won't be a hoarder. You won't try to control everything. You're definitely not going to be violent in nature, and you won't lie. So it's these great ethical concepts by which you could build a solid, peaceful life foundation.
Yeah, and I guess we're just so different in our approach. You were thinking about a cookie, and I was thinking about, the things that come to be and the things that pass away. Like, what are those things, and what is that which abides? And that which abides is the deepest core of your being. And when you flow from that place, these things are just natural. It's not something you build.
Yep.
It's something you are.
Yep.
And what takes us away from that is our journey of separation, of learning fear and learning anger and hate. We did not come here with that.
Mm-hmm.
We did not come with it.
Yep.
We learned it here. And all these just return you back to that divine eternal nature that is you. That we recognize
in each other.
recognize in each other, yeah.
Especially when we say namaste.
Namaste, yeah. It all comes back to that.
Yeah. Which I think is a pretty good way of tying this up, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
That was a really fun conversation about the
Yamas. Yeah. I hope that we made sense. I'll be interested when we
go back and listen to our own
because I feel like we kind of,
we danced around
circled around some things, but I think we hit the points, and we would love to know what you think.
Yeah, let us know how you have maybe grown throughout this journey, and if you haven't, go ahead and hit subscribe on that.
Or what helps you?
Yeah.
What we want to learn and share and explore together.
Yeah.
We don't pretend to be, total experts on these things, but we have worked in this world, and we have developed our practice, and we like to share that with other people.
We're enjoying the journey and sharing it with you. Oh, I didn't mean to say if it didn't change you. I meant to say if you haven't gotten to watch all of them.
Yes.
Yeah, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe, and then you go back and watch them all. And then, because we're sure that it'll make you go, maybe.
Yes, we love the feedback. We love for you to like us and share and give us a review.
And if you are interested, you can find us online. Merritt, you want to give them your handle?
Yes, I'm the Energy Center I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And I have a website, www.theenergycntr.com.
And you provide what services?
Integrated energy medicine. I do distance work. I do phone sessions. We do a lot of energy and earth medicine. And I also do private sessions in my home, workshops, drummings, groups.
Oh, yeah. So you remember how we talked about earlier how she's like the cerebral one and I'm the physical one. So you can find me.
I don't know if I like the word cerebral.
Energetic. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, energetic.
That means but my mind is full.
Oh, okay. Then no.
Cerebral, like, to me, it's people who can't shut their brain off. And
Okay.
I'm not saying I don't have those moments, but
So
in
our
this
energetic,
our energy, our mind, body, spirit connection, our holistic,
our energy doctor.
Yeah,
I love that about you.
Energy doctor. Okay.
That's what I call it.
Okay.
But I'm like over here in the physical
They're all
world.
just labels.
So. It really is. And that's why I thought about cookies and you thought about something so much deeper.
Well, cookies can be very deep. I mean, we could do a whole video on, the Tao of
a cookie. Stay tuned for that one. So thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Jennifer Dixon. You can find me at thriveyogaandwellness.com. And with me is
Merritt, Maloof, Plumb. We appreciate you being with you and sharing our sacred space.
Take care.
Yamas.
Bye-bye.